A Weibo news story that people are talking about is how New York police in Brooklyn were able to take down an entire gang by using the power of social media. According to the original post, the New York City police were able to arrest 41 people that made up one of the most organized and violent street gangs that they've encountered. And as for how the police found out what they were up to, online boasting of their crimes. So once again, vanity. Kids that just can't help but show off. The police created fake Facebook accounts and simply befriended the suspects and then simply recorded what they were involved in by images and status updates. Hey, I think that's the kind of sleuthing that anybody can do and probably have done before. It was called internet stalking. Now, Chinese Weibo users were quite impressed with how proactive the New York City police were. Now let's take a look at what they had to say.
A job well done. Gangsters need to be taken out. They are a menace to society. These gangsters are amateurs. They have no discipline. They want to be a part of the underworld, yet they flaunt their crimes online? Who do they think they are? Why can't they do something constructive to help them out of poverty? This is pretty interesting. I guess no matter what you do or where you live, it's best to keep a low profile.
Now, the situation is a bit different in China. You don't really hear about gang activity in the country. Now, you might have heard about them in Hong Kong and Macau, but in mainland China, gangs in the sense that they exist in America with very complicated hierarchy, almost like an exclusive club, don't really exist in China, where there's zero tolerance for such organizations. Now, sometimes there will be news broadcasts of anti-gang crackdowns and videos of cops storming into people's homes like on Cops and hauling people off in paddy wagons. Nope, organized crime in China is much more subtle. It's usually out of sight and loosely organized, and instead of gangs, there are rings, such as smuggling rings and human traffic rings, which by itself is also a big problem for the country. However, much like how police in New York use Facebook to solve their crimes, Chinese Weibo users have taken to their microblogs to help track down missing people and human traffic victims. Now, on December 4th, a Weibo user from Sichuan province publicized the case of 7 elementary school kids being kidnapped from their school and forced to work in a toy factory. The girls were reportedly lured into a van with promises of money. Now, one child managed to contact home and say that they were safe but were forced into labor. Now, the Weibo post quickly went viral, and many commenters were angry that the government, especially the local police, knew of the abduction but didn't have any plans of action. And finally, after 3 days and a lot of internet pressure, the local government put together a search party. Eventually, 6 of the 7 children were found and reunited to their family thanks to the Weibo campaign. However, the state-run Global Times newspaper was cautious to applaud the efforts of the online campaign, which it might have seen as online vigilantism, citing, and I quote, "Chinese society has paid heavily for lessons over ideological clashes. Similar tragedies must be prevented in the cyber world." Of course, Weibo users were at the time dumbfounded as to what the paper was trying to say. Now, let's take a look at what Weibo users have to say about how China uses social media to help battle crime.
New York cops are pretty sneaky, but we also have a very strong online task force. We call it the Human Flesh Search Engine. If these gangsters were flaunting on Weibo, within a week we'd have their home address, phone number, their parents' home address, their third-grade report card, and nude pictures of their girlfriends revealed through Human Flesh Search. Pretty low skill level, I'd say. The power of our online group efforts is enough to topple down government officials. We can handle a couple of thugs, no problem. Whereas American police proactively use the internet to solve their cases, our leaders try to limit our internet's ability to fight crime.
More and more Chinese people have realized that a lot of good can come from social media. And now, besides fighting human trafficking, Weibo is also used to help find missing persons. People also use it to help poor families who need donations for operations, shine a light on the miserable living conditions of some of China's elderly, and of course, fight corruption and graft against unscrupulous officials.